Books are an awesome way to meet people who have changed history. I've met lots of people through books that I could never meet any other way. But if you're really, really lucky, every once in a while, you actually get to meet a person, not only who has changed the world, but who is changing it right now. That happened to me.
When I got this idea of banks for poor people, I said, not only is this going to be my purpose in life from here on out, but I said, this is a methodology that is going to end poverty on the planet.
In fact, a man who is changing history even stayed at my house one night. Meet John Hatch.
I'm John Hatch. I'm the founder of a microcredit organization called Finca, which has programs in 23 countries of the world and is lending to 1 million very low-income mothers around the planet.
It wasn't until after John left my house that my dad started explaining to me what an amazing man he is. John started his career by getting a master's degree in economics at Johns Hopkins University. He could have gone on to make big bucks like most of his colleagues, but he had an experience that changed his future. He was in Bolivia working for the Peace Corps when
I held a little baby girl who was starving to death, and her heart was palpitating and her eyes were just glaring, and she was asking me, why is this happening to me? And a few minutes after I put her down, she was dead. These were her last moments, and I've never forgotten. We have a world that's so abundant that this is an unnecessary thing to have happen to children, and I want to play a role in stopping it.
So he started trying to figure out how to end poverty. First, he decided to focus on poor women.
The reason we lend to women is because women are more in touch with the children, and the problem of poverty is it's the babies that are dying. And who takes care of the babies? The mothers. If you strengthen the mothers, and they will take care of the problem of keeping their children alive. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that mothers are better managers of money in most countries than men are. As I said before, 99 cents of every dollar they earn will go to their children. They're very, very focused on that. And so that makes them superb change agents for their family. And they're also proven to be more honest than men are. And they're easier to organize, and to organize in groups of 20, 25 women. And they communicate and support each other as a support group far better than men do.
Then he had to decide how to help the poor women. Lots of people tried to help the poor by giving them things. But John took a road less traveled, and that has made all the difference.
The inspiration for village banks of my organization Finca came while I was on an airplane, and came right through like just a warm energy, and God gave me this fantastic idea about why not create banks exclusively for poor people so they could borrow money for what they wanted to do without having to go and ask anybody else's permission. It was their bank and they were the owners.
When I first heard that, I thought it was insane. He called his idea village banking. Others call it microcredit. Basically, it's loaning money to poor people to help them start businesses to create income. But I wondered how they could ever pay it back.
Oh, many, many beliefs have been proven false. Beliefs, for example, the poor cannot be good, credit-worthy borrowers, cannot repay a loan, capable of running their own businesses, have solutions to their lives. I mean, there's many, many more myths.
These poor women take a loan and use it to start a business. I asked John if he could briefly describe how microcredit works.
Briefly? No. Microcredit, this is a group credit program. In other words, a group of women create a support group. They come together and meet in the home of one of their members once a week to provide themselves with 3 services. One is loans, so that they can finance little business activities and create their own self-employment. Then the second thing the group does is it is a safe place for them to accumulate savings. And then the final thing they provide each other is what we call mentoring and coaching. And the more experienced members coach the less experienced members. And so there's a lot of that interchange within the group and the group meetings. So we call that empowerment. Normally about $100 is the first size. first loan. It's for 16 weeks. It's a 4-month loan cycle, and they repay their loan once a week. They've paid the interest on that loan, and every single week they've also made a savings contribution to their savings account. So at the end of that first 4-month cycle, they are now eligible to go on to their second loan, and their second loan is usually the amount of the first plus an additional amount equal to what they've been able to save. And they can't go on to the next loan if they haven't settled up on the first one.
And does it work? It works amazingly well. Listen to one of the millions of stories John Hatch has helped create.
This woman and her family lost their home in San Salvador because of an earthquake, and they had to move to the edge of the city. And they were so poor that she doesn't know how they survived. And around that time, Finca came into the community and said that it was going to provide loans for women. She was one of the first to sign up, and she started with her first loan selling bed sheets and towels door to door. At the end of that first loan cycle, she switched over to a new loan line, which was not a loan line. She switched to a new business of buying and selling vegetables. And then she began to buy bricks, and little by little she built a little teeny brick store next to her house with a window where she could sell fruits and vegetables from her own yard. And by the time she was finished doing these things, after about 3 years and 9 loan cycles, her last loan that I heard of before I left the country was she had bought a used pickup truck and was making a living shipping stuff in and out of the city, a transportation business carrying people's market produce back and forth, all done by a little old lady with rheumatism.
Now, as I said at the beginning, John Hatch hasn't just changed a few lives, he's helped change the course of history.
We've reached 150 million low-income borrowers already with this movement in about 15 years. There's no other government program, private sector program that has reached that many poor people ever in the history of human beings. It's not a government program, it's a private sector program.
And he's not finished yet.
I just firmly believe that we're on a trend line right now to end poverty by the year 2025. That means that in the next 7 years, we will have cut poverty in half. And just maintaining that trend line, we will have gotten to the sum total 240 million families on the planet living on less than $1 a day by the year 2025. Now, the other reason for that, too, is because I want to still be alive to see that. And if I put my target out any further, I'm going to miss the big party.
But then, John looked me in the eye and told me that it's all up to me and my generation. What a responsibility.
But I want young people to know that history depends on them. They are the history of the future. They are the future leaders. They are the future business leaders, politicians, generals, religious leaders. They're in charge 25 years from now, and what they do will determine how our planet evolves and grows. If the youth of the world do the same thing for global poverty, they stand up and they say, we as a generation will not accept a planet where 11 million babies continue to die every year from chronic malnutrition. That's unacceptable to us. We're going to do something about it, and our generation will be the first generation to guarantee that our planet, that our children will not, and grandchildren will never have to live in a world where that type of tragedy continues.
I am honored to present John Hatch as a man who has changed history. And talking with this great man made me realize that to truly honor him is to finish the work he started. I'm committed. Are you?